This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Young Jarek would love to take my order.
Hi.
He works at the coffee shop just up the street.
Morning.
He's happy and annoying with a smirk the size of Texas. He's my coffee enemy.
Would you like a mochaccino? Or perhaps a cappuccino? Or maybe a frappuccino?
Said Jarek wearing the chinos. All I really want is a cup of coffee. So strong the spoon stands up, just a cup of coffee. All I really want is a cup of coffee. Give me a friggin' cup of coffee, Jarek.
Yo, can I talk to Darius?
Who's this?
Yo, this is Cobra from Broward County. I had something I need to talk to you about.
Okay.
I heard you're selling in my territory, son.
For real?
Yeah, man. You can't come into Cobra's territory and start selling.
Come in who territory?
Now, this is King Cobra from Broward County. This is Darius?
King Cobra. You sound like a lame.
KC. Well, I mean, if you want to get a deal together, man, I might be able to get you in for 15%.
Okay, alright.
It's just a warning to back this shit off, all right?
For real?
Do I sound serious?
No.
Well, you should be scared of the King Cobra.
Just because you said that, that means I shouldn't be scared of you.
All right, you've been warned.
Yeah, and I know this is Ricky and Bob.
This is KC. I'm King Cobra. Need little beat.
Okay. Rick, I know Ricky's voice, so that's a fail.
I see you, Darius. Hi, hello, Coffee Nation, and welcome to the Coffee with Friends podcast, episode 16. I'm your host, Carl Coffee. With me once again is my sidekick, Tim Anderson. How are you, Tim?
I'm doing great. How are you, Carl?
Good. Our guest tonight, first-time guest, longtime friend, Minnesota resident, Trent Steffes. How are you?
What's going on, guys? I'm doing fantastic.
One last show here at the CoffeeTimeUSA.Asia studio without Tim. Tim will be back next week. Tim, how are you doing back in Michigan?
I am freezing, Carl.
All right, this show is called Super Bowl Halftime Show Bracket Palooza. We're going to talk a lot about the Super Bowl. Nothing about football, though. You got it, guys?
Perfect.
Yes.
Fine.
Here, we're a member of the Overtime Sports Network. You can check them out at otsportsnetwork.com or on Twitter at _OTSN, and also the Detroit Sports Podcast Network, Trent. You can check them out at DetroitSportsPodcast.com or at Twitter at Detroit Podcast. Before we dive into the topics, guys, I've been wondering this for a while. When you guys take a dump, do you take your shirts off?
No.
It depends on how intoxicated I am.
Oh.
Good Lord.
All right, this show is broken up into 4 segments. We have a Song of the Week, Stump the Expert, which is bowling, awesome, 8-1, Super Bowl cities, and then the main topic, which I talked about earlier, Super Bowl Halftime Show, Bracket Palooza. So there's a lot of, you're going to be picking a lot of stuff, Trent. This whole show is going to be you picking things. Unlike the 8-1, me and Tim have a say in the main topic. Another thing, guys, just answer yes or no or a little short response. Does a closer, does Mariano Rivera, does he deserve the title of being the only person to be in the Hall of Fame with 100% score? Every single writer put him in. Does he deserve that title? Trent?
Is that the first time it's happened ever?
Yeah, it's the first time ever. I mean, Mickey Mantle didn't get in, Babe Ruth didn't get in, Hank, I mean, they all got in the first time, but not 100%. There's always one writer or more leaving them off.
No, definitely not. When I saw that he had gotten the 100% mark, I was like, oh, I expected that. But the first ever, I A, wouldn't have guessed that, and B, that's kind of ridiculous.
Here's why it happened. Baseball has these old-timer writers, and a lot of them just hold back. One of them would be Ken Griffey, obviously, he deserved to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, which he was, but there's always that old writer who's 92 years old and says, out of principle, he has to earn his wings. But guess what? I think those guys are dying out. So I think we're going to see more of this. You know, Tim?
He doesn't deserve to have been the first person to have 100%. That said, he absolutely deserved to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
That's why would you go on a podcast with such a soft take? Give me something, that's going to be hot.
That guy I saw in Columbus in 1989 was horrendous.
All right. I was just curious about that. Our song of the week is from T-Baby. It's called It's So Cold in the D. I don't know if you've heard of that. Dude, look it up on YouTube. It's amazing. It's amazing. It was featured on Beavis and Butthead when they had a revival a few years back. Just an amazing
Those were
song.
fine episodes, Carl. Those were fine episodes.
T-Baby, It's So Cold in the D. Anyways. All right, Trent, can you believe that Tim comes on this show with such a soft take? Should we just hang up on him?
No, because I had equally as soft a take.
I mean, I get it, though. I get it. We got Trent.
I'm sorry my take was so placid, Carl.
No, you're okay.
I'll take some take Viagra. Some hot take Viagra.
So I've met Trent.
Take him in harder.
I've met Trent through wiffle ball, but his main sport is bowling.
That's right.
And I asked the guest, give me something you're an expert in. Trent says bowling. Lately, Tim, I haven't been able to stump anyone. And bowling, I could have made it super hard. I'm going to kind of give him a layup because I want to see how much he actually knows about bowling. So, Trent, there's a bowling alley in the White House. Did you know that?
Yes.
Which president had it installed?
Oh, I think this might be a trick question, and that's a great question, Carl.
Oh, wow. I mean, just guess someone.
Carl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just guess someone.
My guess is Obama. I think it's a trick question, and I remember a picture of Obama bowling, and I think I'm wrong, though.
Wow,
It's not.
I think Tim knows it.
Isn't it Woodrow Wilson?
It's Richard Nixon. Dick.
Bah!
Okay.
Oh,
We stumped him. Tim.
You did. That was
the hardest question since mine.
All right,
that was a fantastic question.
So since the main topic is just picking halftime performers, which is pretty much what 8 to 1 is, we're going to go really quick through 8 to 1. Okay, Trent?
Yeah.
This is all you. Me and Tim get a veto, but not in a championship. So basically, I just Googled which cities have hosted the most Super Bowls, and I got these. So real quick, we're going to do the first round. You ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. New Orleans versus Tampa Bay. Who do you got?
New Orleans. I have never been to either, but I've heard nothing but good things about New Orleans. My roommate just came back for moving his sister down there. They had a great time, and from what I've heard, Tampa is an absolute dump. St. Petersburg is a lot better, so New Orleans gets the nod here.
Yeah, even going further, Clearwater's better than both of them. Atlanta versus, I don't even know, Phoenix, whatever it is. Where's that stadium? I don't even know what it is. It's
I think it's in Glendale, Arizona, but that's part of the. There's like 4 big cities right next to each other.
Yeah,
in that area. Yeah. But
you go into Hotlanta or you go into the desert. I mean, but you can. It's I don't know. This is a toss.
Are you going to the home of hip hop or the home of old people?
Hold on, Tim. I didn't even ask you. Did you want to veto the first one? Are you an idiot?
No. Yeah. TB sounds like a place, or Tampa Bay sounds like a place I'd actually get TB. So I'm going to go with New Orleans. All
right, Atlanta or Phoenix, Trent Steffes.
Oh man, this is a tough one because I've actually been to Phoenix and I spent some time downtown and I really did like it. But Atlanta's. I'm really interested in going to Atlanta, and I mean, I'm like what was just brought up. It's the home of hip hop. There's so much hip hop history. They got that brand new stadium, and I mean the premiere episode of Walking Dead was in Atlanta, so there's a tour in that for sure. So I'm gonna go with Atlanta.
I'm not vetoing because I don't care.
Jeez, Carl, nice attitude.
Stop. Hey, this is the 4-5 matchup. It's a toss-up. What do you got, Tim? Any veto?
No, I'm gonna. It's like I said, the home of hip hop over the retirement home.
You find it ridiculous, Trent, that Atlanta's going to have the Super Bowl, and they have a Chick-fil-A in the stadium, but it's going to be closed on Super Bowl Sunday. Come on. At some point, you have to walk away from your principles.
Yeah, it's not surprising.
It's the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know. But it's Chick-fil-A, so.
It sounds like a good fundamentalist Christian organization.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
I belong to it, but
to the bottom half of the bracket, the second largest city in the country versus the fourth largest. Los Angeles versus Houston. Both have good tacos. What do you got, Trent?
So I have pretty strong opinions about LA. I hate LA. It's a dirty town. There's a ton of people, ton of traffic, and it's just, right on the edge of going into the ocean forever. So And Houston is a cool city. That whole, I mean, the metro parts of Texas are really, really hip and popular right now, like Austin and Dallas, that whole area. In Houston, I mean, they're probably going to be getting a hockey team coming up, and that just makes it that much better. So I'm going to go with Houston over LA.
That's fine by me. What hockey team are they getting?
I think they're either going to be getting the Florida Panthers or the Phoenix Coyotes, or the Arizona Coyotes.
That's what I thought. They deserve it. Like I said.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Houston's the fourth biggest city. Come on. No veto for me. Tim?
I've got to say, LA, no thanks. Been there, done that. It's just too big. That's what she said. I'm going to go with Houston. It's got a booming city, rapid growth, good food, and good culture. Yeah, definitely Houston.
And our last matchup of the first round, Miami/South Florida versus the Bay Area. Both of them very gay friendly. What do you got, Trent?
I'm gonna have to go with the Bay Area. I've been out to San Francisco a lot. I got family out there, and every time I've gone out there, I've really liked it. Miami is just a bit too, for my taste at least. I'm a Minnesota guy, so it's just a bit too eccentric for me. And I know that's like, oh, San Francisco is not eccentric, but I think that Miami is just a bit too loud, if that makes any sense.
Whoa, I don't know, man. I might use my veto. Tim, are you gonna?
So, let me start off by saying Miami has South Beach, vibrant culture, Cubano comida, and warm water. And San Francisco has cold water and seals. I'm going to go ahead and go with Miami and veto.
That's fair.
I will not be vetoing his veto. I lived in South Florida during a Super Bowl, the Fort Lauderdale area. It's not as nutty as South Beach. It's a little bit more tame. It's awesome. And the porn's a little less gayer. So I am going to allow that veto to go through. All right, let's go to the main topic. Trent Steffes just knocked out the first round of Super Bowl cities. He has New Orleans, Atlanta, Houston, and thanks to Tim's veto, the Miami, South Florida. They're all moving on to the second round. We'll get to that later. Now let's talk about the Super Bowl halftime show Bracketpalooza, which I set up just like the NFL playoffs. There's two conferences, boys, the old-timers and young-timers, and nothing before 2001, because that's when I started really caring. You ready to run down the seeds?
Yeah.
The old-timer conference, we have Prince as a 1 seed, they got a bye. Madonna, they have a bye. Bruce Springsteen as a 3 seed, Paul McCartney as 4, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers as the 5, and the Rolling Stones as the 6. Let's look at those young-timers. Katy Perry gets a 1 seed and a bye. Aerosmith. Really? Aerosmith? We'll talk about it. Are they young timers? We'll see. Yes, they are. They get a bye. Janet Jackson? She's the 3 seed. Coldplay, Justin Timberlake, and Bruno Mars. They fill out the conferences. Do you see any snubs, boys? Tim? Trent? What do you got?
I mean, I don't see any personal snubs. Like, all of my favorite performances are accounted for. Which obviously we'll get into later, but I mean, it's just in terms of like iconic performances. I mean, and again, this is just general. I don't necessarily think this, but I mean, Lady Gaga's was super popular. Beyonce, U2 had the big bit during 2001 when he opened up his jacket and there was the American flag or whatever. So, I mean, there's some pretty iconic performances that I would say are left off the list, but again, personal opinions. The list is great.
I kind of think you two might have been snubbed. Tim, do you agree?
Carl, I hate all these performers.
It's kind of funny that I'm calling out a snub when I made the seeds. So
it happens.
I mean, like these performers aren't for the real fans; they're for the high holiday football fans and the commercially addicted American public. Like
that's a good point.
And do you understand?
It's all commercialism, and I hate it.
I know, Trent, you were probably just a baby, but do you understand why I put Aerosmith as a young timer?
I mean, after like kind of reading up on it and like watching it, I understand why.
Yeah, they stole the show. NSYNC, Britney Spears, Nelly, and then Janet Jackson. She wasn't old or young, but obviously that was a young timer performance in 2004.
Yeah.
All right, so we're good with everything.
Yeah, I'm fine with everything.
Because if you said, "Hey, Carl, listen, your seeds are ridiculous. Let's redo this whole bracket. Let's start the show over," I'd be like, "Okay, you're the guest, Trent Steffes." So here's.
Well, I mean, seeds. It's a different story. The seeds that you have, but hey, that's just seeding. It's all good.
All right, let's run through. We're gonna go quick because Trent, you're not the only one voting now. Me and Tim have a say. Okay.
I thought this was my show.
It is. We're not going to just sit back. Trent Steffes from Minnesota. Here we go. Let's go to Wild Clef Weekend. And in case you didn't know, clef, the definition, it's several symbols drawn at the end of a stave, indicating the pitch of the notes written on that stave. All right, so we're going to Colts Neck, New Jersey. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. They're hosting the Rolling Stones. The 3 versus 6. Tim, who do you got?
Because I have to, Carl. I'm going to take the Stones. I want to paint everybody in Bruce Springsteen in his band black.
The 6 seed with an upset. And Trent, who do you got?
Honestly, I love the Stones. That was a good line you had about painting them black. But in terms of his performance, Bruce Springsteen, he actually brought a lot of energy to his performance, which is something that, if you look at the kind of post-Janet Jackson Super Bowl halftime shows, they had a lot of older acts on because they didn't want to get too scandalous.
Gosh darn it, you stole my take. No, go
on. But in a lot of those post Janet post 9/11, Jesus, post Janet Jackson Super Bowl performances, they were just kind of like playing music. But rewatching the Bruce Springsteen one, he really brought a lot of energy to it. And I mean, it's not really my cup of tea, but I liked it a lot better than the Stones performance. So I'm going to go with Bruce, the boss.
All right, here we go. Yeah, like Trent said, after the Janet Jackson nipple thing, they went old-timers heavy. Bruce Springsteen in 09 versus Rolling Stones 06. And I can't believe the Rolling Stones could have played in Super Bowl 1. You guys realize that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the Rolling Stones. I'm not going to pick against them. So with a 2-1 vote, they're going to move on. Rolling Stones upset Bruce Springsteen as the away team. All right. Let's move on to the second Wild Clef weekend game in the Old Timers bracket. Trent, you can go first here. This is a tough one. At Liverpool, England, it's Paul McCartney hosting Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Who do you got?
All right. So I'm going Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers because this is what we just discussed in how it was kind of like chill and they wanted people to have more laid back performances. Both of these performances were really more like sit back and listen to them perform their hits. And I didn't really realize how much I love Tom Petty until I rewatched this performance, and he got some bangers, and he was actually able to bring out a lot of energy from the crowd, especially way more than McCartney did, and which is disappointing because I'm a huge Beatles fan, and it would have been cool if he would have brought out Ringo to do with a little help from my friends. So I think it was just kind of in the Paul McCartney one was the one right after Janet Jackson, so you can kind of see why they wouldn't want to go out and take a couple risks. But I think Tom Petty's performance was way better overall.
Trent Steffes, 1 vote for Tom Petty, the 5 seed. Tim, are you going to have them move on? Or are you
I am.
Oh.
I am. First of all, Paul McCartney died in 1960-something. It's a fake. And you know what? Without the Beatles, he's just Paul McCartney. Petty moves on.
All right, then. No drama there. I don't have to give my vote, and I won't. Let's move over to the Young Timers Conference, and we're going to Gary, Indiana. Trent, you excited?
Not if I actually had to go.
Yes. So
do we have to breathe? Do we have to breathe?
Do we have to drink water?
It's the infamous 04 Super Bowl with Janet Jackson, with Justin Timberlake, Jessica Simpson, Kid Rock, Nelly, P. Diddy, and they're facing off against the 6 seed Bruno Mars with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. This is an interesting matchup. I see it as a coin flip. What do you got, Trent?
It's actually the opposite of a coin flip for me. It's a 100% write it in Sharpie Bruno Mars for me, because I think that Bruno Mars is one of the most talented musicians that's kind of in his prime when it comes to music, and I think he has a lot of staying power. His performance was absolutely electric, and he broke out the dance moves, and I know it was probably lip synced, but it looked like it wasn't lip synced, which is awesome. He had really good integration with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that was a point I was going to bring up, is that it's really annoying when they just throw in random bands together for this, and it doesn't make any sense. And this one didn't make any sense, but they did it really well. It was good integration with the Chili Peppers. It started off great, it ended great, and I love Bruno Mars, so it's an easy Bruno Mars for me.
Dude, when they sang Shout, did you get pumped?
When they sang Shout?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. That whole performance, it was... When I was doing my prep for this show, it was the second one I watched, and that was a mistake because it set the bar extremely high.
All right, we've had 2 upsets already, and this could be the third. Tim, who do you got? Janet Jackson 04 or Bruno Mars 2014?
So, funny story. I actually missed Nipplegate, and I didn't get to see the pepperoni nipple that the world did, which I'm not really saddened about. That said, I don't like the Red Hot Chili Peppers or Bruno Mars. If that guy's gonna fawn or grenade, we're all gonna die because there's nothing to him. But put a gun to my dick, and I'm gonna go with Bruno Mars.
Oh wow! All right then. Once again, I don't have to vote, so you don't have to know what I'm gonna pick. But I remember I went to Liberty in January of 2004, and they were showing the Super Bowl in the basketball arena, and it's a very Christian conservative college because we didn't have cable or you couldn't watch TV, so everyone had to watch the Super Bowl in the basketball arena. And there we were watching the halftime show, and the nipple showed up. But 3 straight upsets, so that goes to show how bad my seeds were, Trent, like you just said.
Carl, was it an unfortunate nipple?
I mean, it was cool. Listen, Bruno Mars.
That's cool.
Bruno Mars moves on. All right, we got one more matchup for Wild Clef Weekend. Tim, you can go first here. Coldplay, which actually had Bruno Mars as the side piece, versus Justin Timberlake, the latest one. Who do you got?
I'm going to have to go with JT. He's like this generation's Frank Sinatra. I really don't like Coldplay at all. And then Bruno Mars together. 2 negatives don't always equal a positive with me. I probably turned on my PlayStation when they came on.
All right, so you picked Justin Timberlake, another lower seed. Trent, Coldplay or Timberlake?
Gonna go with Timberlake here. Coldplay is so damn mellow. Like it was just tough to watch. I mean, it was Bruno Mars, and like I just said, I like Bruno Mars, and he couldn't even save that for me. It was such a bad performance. And this was the one that was out at Levi Stadium in San Francisco, and it was like there was daylight out when they were performing, and it's like you couldn't ask for a worse setting for a Super Bowl performance. And then on top of it, to have Coldplay, the chillest, worst band ever. And I mean, with the Timberlake one, obviously that was done in my home state last year. They had the Prince tribute, which was awesome, but honestly, other than that, I really didn't enjoy the show. He wore that really goofy cowboy shirt, and then when he sang the song Suit and Tie, he didn't even have a tie on, which was just dumb. So, so even though I didn't really enjoy the JT performance all that much, he's getting a win here in my book.
All right, so guys, we have a 6 and a 5 and a 6 and a 5 moving on. My seeding was terrible. In case anyone cares, I would have agreed with 2 out of 4 of those. But anyways, those guys are moving on. So we just knocked out Wild Clef Weekend, and now the Big Daddies are waiting for the winners of that round. Madonna, Prince, Aerosmith, and Katy Perry are all rested and ready. You guys ready for Diminuendo round? And in case you didn't know, diminuendo, it's Italian, literally meaning diminish. Dynamic instruction, meaning to gradually play quieter. Did you know that, Trent?
Yeah, I believe at one point I did, yes.
Oh, yes. I heard Trent's a musical genius. That's why I have him on this show. Well, let's respect the old-timers. They'll go first. We're going to Rochester Hills, Michigan, the home of Madonna. Nice area. She is hosting this matchup. She's the 2 seed. In 2012, she had LMFAO, Nicki Minaj, and CeeLo Green. All right. She is going to face off against Tom Petty, who had an upset win. Madonna versus Tom Petty. Let's go to Trent first. He's our guest. Who do you got?
I think that Madonna performing at the halftime show was about 20 years too late. And I mean, I didn't enjoy it. And honestly, on my rewatch of it, I didn't even get past 5 minutes. I was just so bored. Madonna doesn't really do anything for me, like musical interest wise. And Nicki Minaj sucks. And, one of the new songs that they leaned on in that performance was one, and the same thing with Justin Timberlake. They had he had a song released just before the Super Bowl, and so obviously he had to lean on that song. And the song that she released back in I think it was 2012 or 13, she did this, and this song was just horrendous. So yeah, and I'm going with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, man. I'm going with old school rock and roll rather than the garbage that Madonna did.
Ooh, another upset there. Tim, do you have Tom Petty moving on? Or does
I do not, Carl.
Oh.
Do you know what Madonna has in common with a coffee table from IKEA?
What?
I'm saying there's a chance in the middle of the night I might bang it.
So you're picking Madonna based on that? Nothing had to do with
Absolutely.
Listen, all right, the rare Carl tiebreaker. I haven't had to do much. All right, a lot of noise back there. Listen, Tom Petty. Trent talked about it earlier. I actually listened to Tom Petty's halftime show, and it actually got me excited. My goodness.
Oh.
Tom Petty, 5 seed. He shouldn't have been the 5 seed. I'm sorry for that. I'm actually going to have him move on. I agree with Trent here. Madonna show, that was a snooze fest. And I just was not old enough to appreciate at the time how good Tom Petty's halftime show was. The 5 seed.
You just nailed it right there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They're moving on, though. They're in the conference championships. Good for them. Here we go now. We're going to Minneapolis, Minnesota. How far do you live from there, Trent?
Currently, I live about 5 miles north of Minneapolis proper.
And have you ever seen Prince's compound?
I've not been to Paisley Park, but I did see Prince perform live. So,
what's going on now?
Saw him.
What happened to all his house and all that stuff? His family just runs it?
Paisley Park got turned into sort of a Prince museum.
Oh, really?
And you can go tour it, and you can see his studios and his performing studio and stuff like that. And I mean, back in the day, Paisley Park was rocking. There was a bunch of midnight parties and stuff there all the time. So yeah, and I haven't been down there yet, but I really would like to go down there sometime.
The Rolling Stones in 06. I mean, it's the Rolling Stones versus Prince in 07. The 1 seed versus the 6. Tim, don't be stupid like last matchup. Be real here. These are giants in the industry. Who do you got, Prince or Rolling Stones?
I see where Prince appeals to a more broad audience, and the Stones appeals to the boomers. I'm going to have to go with Prince, Carl.
Okay. So we have a Minnesota guy who loves Prince. I mean, listen, do we even have to ask him? Prince by a landslide? Trent?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
right. And, I mean, I just want to quick bring up, just because he brought it up, Prince has, I mean, he just said Prince had the broad appeal. And I think it was actually really cool that, because, again, this was Super Bowl 41. This was still in the wake of the Janet Jackson debacle and people freaking out about it and not wanting to rock the boat. And then, so they go out and they get Prince, and like Tim said, Prince is going to he's going to appeal to the masses, but he's just that weird that he's going to make it a great show. So yeah, it's Prince, easy.
He also transcends race, and like I said, it just appeals to a broader audience that way.
100%.
And yes, it was raining while he was singing Purple Rain. You can't script it.
I mean, I rewatched it again today. It's goosebumps every time.
The Old Timers Championship will be Prince versus Tom Petty. We'll get to that later. But we're still in the Diminuendo round. You guys ready to go to the Young Timers Conference?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Let's hit it and quit it, Carl.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of embarrassed that I put Aerosmith there, but like I said, there's a reason. They're from Boston, so that's where this matchup is. Aerosmith, 2001. With NSYNC, Britney Spears, Mary J. Blige, and Nelly. They are going against Justin Timberlake. So Justin Timberlake, he's on both sides here. Pretty interesting. So Trent, who do you got?
Well, since you kind of brought it up, Justin Timberlake was in this bracket 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Carl has a little crush. No, just kidding.
These are facts. These are facts.
No, where's the Backstreet Boys? Come on.
Okay, that I'm on that side too, but I thought for sure you'd be in sync.
No, I'm a Backstreet Boys guy. Come on.
Put a gun in my dick and sink.
This is Trent's world. Who do you got?
This is a tough matchup because I just didn't think there was any sort of chemistry in this performance. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears were dating at the time. It just seemed like they didn't even know each other. Like they had just met each other backstage for the first time.
This is one of the best music matchups of our lifetime. Are you being serious here?
Yeah, I am. I didn't like... Wow. Just all this, I didn't I guess something else I don't understand is that all the young talent there, because I'm sure in NSYNC and Britney Spears' performance that would have been incredible. Why is Aerosmith even in the picture?
Forget it. All right, you're picking JT.
I'm picking JT.
I'm going to make it easy. I'm picking Aerosmith because it was an awesome mashup. My goodness. NSYNC in its prime. Tim, it's your world. You're the deciding vote. Who's moving on?
I'm going to go ahead and say Aerosmith with the Disney babies.
That's awesome. See, Tim gets it. Trent, you were so young. So young.
I think I was put off by the fact that Joey Fatone got an incredible amount of face time in that performance.
I want to point out to everyone that Fatone spells fat one.
We all know it. Let's go off to California. We're going to Santa Barbara, California, because guess who's hosting this matchup? Katy Perry. Oh, my goodness. 2015, one of my favorites. She had Lenny Kravitz, Missy Elliott there. Missy Elliott kind of came out of Extinction. Remember Left Shark? Oh, my goodness. Social media had fun with that. Well, they're facing off against Bruno Mars, the 6th seed, who's there from an upset. Katy Perry, Bruno Mars. Tim, who do you got?
The only thing I didn't like about Katy Perry is what she did to Lenny Kravitz's guitar. It's like she flossed her butt with his guitar.
So what are you saying? What are you saying?
I'm saying that she's a firework.
Are you picking Bruno Mars?
Katy Perry running away with it.
Oh, cool. Thank you. And Trent, your world.
There was 2 reasons I liked the Katy Perry performance, and they were both dressed up as beach balls in the second half of it. So it's really tough to beat that. But the fact that Katy Perry was riding a giant, weird-ass lion, and then she did a fake lion roar, oh my god, it was so stupid. I thought the beginning of it was so goddamn dumb. And, I mean, the Left Shark thing was funny, but god, Katy Perry's hot. But I can't go against Bruno. Bruno's performance, his halftime show is one of my favorites. So I'm picking Bruno.
Bruno, the 6th seed. And it goes to Carl. Come on. Carl set these seeds. Katy Perry. That one was so entertaining. And what I loved about it was I didn't expect it. Never a Katy Perry fan. I get it. She's good looking. Thought she was ridiculous. If you keep my attention, yes, Bruno kind of did, but not as much as Katy Perry's. The 1 seed moves on. All right. So Trent, Steffes, Tim, and I, we have narrowed it down to 4 performances. We have Prince, 2007, Tom Petty, 2008, Katy Perry, 15, and Aerosmith, 2001. Quite the top 4. But let's circle back to Super Bowl cities real quick. This is taking a back seat. It's almost like we're doing an 8-1 as the main topic. But Super Bowl city is going to go New Orleans versus hot Atlanta. What do you got, Trent? It's only you now. It's only you. But I still have a veto. I do.
I would say New Orleans because you have a better chance of seeing some boobies.
I mean, how would you? What would you do in New Orleans? Would you go all out?
I don't think I'd go all out. I'm not that kind of person, but I'd definitely go to the French Quarter and like go to that bar scene and I don't know, see what's up, see what happens.
No veto here. Let's go to the other one. Houston versus South Florida / Miami. Because in case you didn't know, that stadium is actually not really in Miami. It's kind of off west a little bit. So, Houston versus Miami. What do you got?
I'll probably go H-Town here.
H-Town.
Houston.
I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm not going to veto either of those. Tim already lost his veto, so you have New Orleans and Houston in the championship just like that. Now let's go back to the main topic. You guys ready?
Always, Carl.
Ooh. This is called the Concerto Championships. It's, in case you didn't know, Concerto is a piece of instrumental music for a soloist constructed by an ensemble. I don't even know what I just said.
And Concerto is for ADD.
So 3 of the 4 teams that had a first round bye moved on, but one of them was upset, and they were upset by Tom Petty. These 2 performances were 1 year apart, 07-08. We are in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Prince 07 is hosting Tom Petty 08. Trent, let's go to you first. Who wins this, and who goes to the Super Bowl?
I'm gonna go with Prince here because I mean you brought it up before, and it was my ace in the hole. Purple Rain, while it was raining, for the first time ever at the Super Bowl. I mean, you just can't beat it. I mean, chills, goosebumps, all of it. It's just he just transcends. It didn't seem like it was the Super Bowl for me, and I mean I'm a huge Prince fan, but it just seemed like he transcended the Super Bowl. Like it wasn't the Super Bowl halftime show, like it was a Prince concert during a football game. That's kind of what it seemed like. I don't know. It was just so iconic. He's just larger than life, and he's so short. I love it. So, and I mean, all props to Tom Petty. He got this far as the 6th seed, but
5.
You just can't beat it as a 5 seed.
Tim, would you trade Eminem, Kid Rock, Ted Nugent, and Bob Seger for Prince?
Jeez, yes.
Yeah. I was naming off like the 4 biggest artists from Detroit. So that just tells you how lucky you are that you had Prince there.
But do we get to keep Eminem's daughter? Does Haley stay in Michigan? Real question.
So I'm guessing, Tim, you're probably going to pick Prince here, no?
Yeah, I'm going with Prince.
Yeah, all right, fair.
Because Petty and Heartbreakers free fell off my list. That's right.
So Prince moves on to the Super Bowl halftime performers post 2001, and they're going to go against either Katy Perry, the 1 seed from 2015, or Aerosmith and that ensemble of youngsters from 2001. 2 performances that were far apart in years, and I'm curious, Tim. I think it's a toss-up here. Who do you got?
If I'm going on performance alone, Katy Perry versus Aerosmith and the Disney Babies. I'm going to go ahead with Aerosmith and the Disney Babies. But I've got to say, I loved everything I saw with Katy Perry. But performance-wise, it goes to Aerosmith and the Disney Babies. I
can't decide, so I'm going to let Trent decide here. If he picks Aerosmith, it moves on. If he picks Katy Perry, then I have a tough decision. Who do you got, Trent?
I'm going to put the pressure on you. I'm going Katy Perry just because I enjoyed the performance more.
I had this thing. We started in 2001 because that's when I started actually caring about halftime performances. NSYNC in its prime with Britney Spears in her prime. Aerosmith had this resurgence because of Don't Want to Miss a Thing, you know that song. Everyone does.
Oh, of course.
Which they sang there. I was a teen for Aerosmith, and then I was 32 for Katy Perry. So, I mean, listen, it's tough. I'd flip a coin if I had one, but since I don't, I'm going with nostalgia, boys. I'm going to have Aerosmith move on. And I understand, yes, they're not a young timer, but we get it. Like Tim said, the Disney Babies stole the show. So they're going to move on to the finals. Aerosmith. All right, so we got a championship match up here, and then we have a championship match for 8-1. Let's go back to 8-1. Super Bowl cities. We got New Orleans versus H-Town. Trent, who wins?
Oh, I'm going to have to go give the nod to New Orleans because Houston seems like the place I would want to go for like a nice kind of family kind of vacation and kind of hang out there. It seems like the place you'd go with the wife and kids, but New Orleans seems like the place you'd go with your friends and just be not sober the entire time. And I mean, you need that once in a while. So I'm gonna go with New Orleans, despite the appeal of Metro Texas right now. I think that New Orleans would just be a little bit more fun.
Is there any city, if the Vikings made the Super Bowl and you had the money and the time off, that you wouldn't go to just because you hate the city?
Man, God, what a question. I think it would take a lot to get me to go to a Super Bowl, because if even if I was financially able to do it, I don't know if I'd do it, because I would be an absolute wreck. I'd be an emotional wreck, and I would just pretty much live and die with every single play, and I just wouldn't want to be surrounded by a bunch of strangers who either A, don't care about the game, or B, might be rooting for the other team. So I honestly think it'd take a lot more for me to actually go than for me to not go.
What a boring answer.
You know where I wouldn't go, Carl? New York City. I was in New York for the Super Bowl, but it was actually New Jersey, and it was terrible.
I almost included them, to be honest with you, over Tampa. But I put Tampa in because they hosted like 2 or 3 times. Anyways, you guys ready for the Super Bowl of halftime performers post-2001?
Sure, that's right, Carl.
So ready.
So, Trent, you're 24 now, so you were probably like 6 years old in 2001, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So you did
for
not.
The Super Bowl, I would have been 6, yeah.
So you probably weren't even watching that halftime performance, and you said you kind of watched it on YouTube. You didn't understand the hype. You don't understand Bubblegum Pop. NSYNC and Britney Spears, they were huge, man. This was like my senior year of high school. Tim was like a freshman or sophomore in college, and this was our time. Prince in 2007. Yeah, you're from Minnesota. It's probably going to get your vote, but this is a good matchup. This is a pretty good Super Bowl we have here.
Honestly,
what do you got?
My vote's going Prince. That's should go without saying. But I mean, I think that just the simple bye 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 dance where they pump their fist and then do the hand closing bye 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 bit. I think that's probably what carried them to this Super Bowl matchup. Just that one dance move alone.
Fair enough. And I'm going to put the pressure on Tim. I'm actually going to pick Aerosmith 01 just because of nostalgia. It was when I started caring about the halftime show. Yeah, I'm a BSB guy, but it's not like I hated NSYNC. I still had all their CDs. And Britney Spears, come on. So, Tim, pressure's on you, man. You're picking the winner.
So the Aerosmith and Disney babies brings, like, the baby boomers and Gen X together. And Prince, like we keep saying, just transcends. Well, if I have to, I'm going to go ahead and go with Prince.
Oh. All right, cool. Congratulations.
Alrighty, I like it. Yeah, cool. Congrats, Prince. R.I.P.
Yeah, rest in peace. All right, let's finish this off. And we have 2 more before the $40/$35 gift card to Applebee's. Is Trent Steffes worthy of the Throne of Awesome?
Trent, is Joe Mauer a first ballot Hall of Famer?
What does that mean?
I don't know if that's a joke or not.
Is he in there?
No, I'm being serious.
Because he... Well, I appreciate that. I really do.
You're putting him in the chair?
No. I'm asking him.
Oh.
It's a qualifying question.
Trent.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no. I'm in the camp that says that Joe Mauer should not be in the Hall of Fame, period.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to him. Yeah, but that would have back over him.
Mauer.
So what does that mean, Tim? Like, are you playing mind
Throne
games?
Of awesome.
Wow.
No, Throne of Awesome.
You asked a Minnesota guy you asked him if a Minnesota guy, because Mauer's from Minnesota, if he's be in the Hall of Fame. That's cruel, man. That's mind games. My goodness.
And that's why he's in the Throne of Awesome.
Have you ever seen the movie Saw? You're like Jigsaw, or whatever his name is.
Don't you forget it.
My goodness. You only have to avoid one person. Next week's guest, we don't even know who it will be. Sorry, Michael Watkins, you're gone. All right. Is there anything you want to plug, Trent?
No, not at the moment.
There's really not much going on in January. All right, let's take it home. So, full Trent Steffes did a great job. Our music expert. He'll come on again, I'm sure. And Tim Angin, who will be back in studio next week. I'm Carl Koff. Talk to you next time.